nation's capital, okay, where the commander-in-chief himself is not a fan of the NFL Commanders, evidently, at least the name for the Washington's football team. President Donald Trump is threatening to hold up a new stadium deal for the Commanders if the team does not go back to its old name, the Redskins, which is considered offensive to Native Americans. Trump also said Sunday that he wants Cleveland's baseball team to go back to his former team, the Indians. All right. The Washington Commanders and the Cleveland Guardians have had their current names since 2022, and both have stated that they have no plans to change them back. Trump obviously took to Truth Social on Sunday with this quote: "The Washington whatevers should immediately change their name back to the Washington Redskins football team. There is a big clamoring for this. Likewise, the Cleveland Indians, one of the 6 original baseball teams with a storied past. Our great Indian people in massive numbers want this to happen. Their heritage and prestige is systematically being taken away from them. Times are different now than they were 3 or 4 years ago. We are a country of passion and common sense. Owners, get it done." 3 exclamation points. Late in the day, the president followed up about the stadium deal. Quote, "My statement on the Washington Redskins has totally blown up, but only in a very positive way. I may put a restriction on them if they don't change the name back to the original Washington Redskins and get rid of the ridiculous moniker Washington Commanders. I won't make a deal for them to build a stadium in Washington. The team would be much more valuable, and the deal would be more exciting for everyone. Indians are being treated very unfairly. Make Indians great again." Ladies and gentlemen, this is the epitome of bull and the epitome of pettiness. Now, I'm not one that sits here, although I can be critical of the president. We all know how I feel about the Democratic Party and how they lost the election. They blew the election, and they tried to pull the country to the extreme left. And as a result, they've ravaged our nation, for crying out loud. Okay? We know how critical I can be about the Democratic Party. That ain't the focus of today's diatribe that I'm about to go in on. You've got a situation with Donald Trump. You don't have anything better to do? Of course you do. This is an evasive tactic. That's why I call BS on it, because it's an evasive tactic. Tariff wars, how's that working out? Yes, we've got pledges. We've got trillions of dollars in pledges from businesses and manufacturing throughout the United States of America. When's that going to come to fruition? We've got a border issue. No doubt he closed the border. Make no mistake about it. Immigration has improved in this country, whether we like it or not. But how he's going about it, how he's been going about it, particularly throughout the streets of America and especially in Los Angeles, you got folks being pulled over, law-abiding citizens, maybe not American citizens. They're here as migrants. They're here illegally, fine. Breaking no laws, working, paying taxes, but somehow, some way, I thought the criminal elements were going to be focused on. I thought we were going to get the criminals out of this country. Not just go and have folks scared to show up to work, for crying out loud, who have disobeyed no laws. How about that? So we can sit there and we can have visions from 2 vantage points. Nevertheless, that's not as clean cut as everybody tries to make it out to be. There's a war between Russia and Ukraine that you promised to absolve from day one. That hasn't happened. There's the Israeli-Hamas conflict, where destruction is taking place in Gaza, where it's been reduced to rubble, where women and children are homeless, where we see and hear about children starving for bread. And all we hear from you is, hey, Israel, we need to stop this. Let's have a ceasefire. But that still is not completely resolved. There's a whole bunch of issues that are going on in the United States of America. There's those Epstein files that even the MAGA right has turned against Trump on, at least to some degree, not just MAGA right followers, podcasters, but also representatives on Capitol Hill who want the list to be released, with folks saying, hey, just show the list. Just show us who's on the list. You got people like me taking heat because I don't give a damn about the FC list, only because I'm thinking about politicians lying all the damn time. I'm thinking it was a campaign ploy, even though that's not something that Trump campaigned on. The MAGA right certainly did. And so you got folks from the deep state, as they say, that may have been a part of the Epstein files, and people may want to know who was that. Who was that was engaging in sex trafficking and other salacious and incendiary behavior with underage girls? And suddenly that list has not been revealed, contrary to what Pam Bondi told us, contrary to what Kash Patel told us, contrary to what Dan Bongino swore to us. So we got all of this going on. And you bring up the Redskins and their name from years ago, and the Commanders of the National Football League? Really? That's where we going? Now, for those of you that don't understand the particulars about what's going on, I'm here to break it down for you because it's important that I point this out to you to make sure I get this out of the way, okay? Because it's important that you know this. The stadium where RFK Stadium, where the Redskins used to play when they were the Redskins, there's a new stadium that Josh Harris, the owner of the Washington Commanders, who with his group purchased the Washington Commanders for over $6.5 billion less than 2 years ago. This man is looking to build a new stadium project on an old RFK site. The projected cost of it is expected to be valued at about $3.7 to $4 billion. 2.5 to $2.7 billion is what Josh Harris has pledged to spend himself. So after spending $6.5 billion to buy the franchise, he's willing to spend an additional $2.5 to $2.7 billion on a new stadium. They're looking for an additional $1 billion plus from the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. And these are where the problems lie. Because Trump's position is that, well, RFK Stadium, or the old RFK Stadium site, is federal land, federal property. What he's ignoring is that 15 days before he returned to